guys, welcome back to my channel. Today will be a battle to the death between two amazing makeup tools to see which one wins. Actually, not really. I'm really just gonna be doing a comparison between the two. I'm gonna go over the Sonicblend by Micheal Todd Beauty, world's first antimicrobial sonic makeup brush with 3D flaw fill technology. That is a mouthful. And I'm also going to compare it to the trusty beauty blender that we all know and love so much and give you an idea of which one may be right for you. So this battle is really about what tool is going to best fit your needs and give you what you're looking for in the finish of your makeup. I'm going to begin with the unboxing and go over all the details of what comes with the Sonicblend brush, and at the same time I will also give you my general review of the brush. Now, how did I become the proud owner of a Sonicblend brush? Well, my best friend Dan, who is my enabler and who is amazing, got me this for an early Mother's Day present. So I've had a chance to use it for a couple of days now. I did film the unboxing before I ever touched it, so you're seeing it just the same way I did, and I'll go over all the details of everything and how it came out of the box. And then I'm going to go over a tutorial with a side-by-side comparison so that you can actually see it in action alongside the Beauty Blender and see it with a foundation that I honestly don't normally love on my own skin. So on that note, let's get to it. Let's start with the unboxing and all of the details of the brush itself.
The brush itself comes packaged in a classic cardboard box with a plastic form inside, holding everything in nice and neat, including this USB charger cable. This can be plugged into any USB port to charge the brush handle, which is great for travel. There is a very thorough user guide inside that covers every single thing you'd ever need to know about this brush, including how to use it, charge it, clean it, everything. Now, I personally am a huge fan of this tool. I think it gives a beautiful finish. I love that I can use a little less foundation with it, and I love that foundations that I normally don't find have enough coverage for me have more coverage and a nicer finish with this brush. However, I don't feel like every single foundation is made to work with this brush, especially super matte finish foundations or foundations that already have a maximum coverage are probably going to look a little too makeup-y with this tool, so just something to be mindful of.
All right, now let's get to my naked face so you can actually see this thing performing in action. All right, guys, so I am back with no foundation on and all this eye makeup, which means I probably look like I'm ready for a mental ward right now. So I'm gonna start with a little bit of primer. I'm gonna be using the Milk Makeup Blur Stick, which has been my go-to these days. I love this primer. So I'm gonna take this all over, and then I'm gonna press this in with my fingers so that the makeup doesn't then just sit up on top of it. Okay, so I've tried this with a different foundation almost every day and a couple of different foundations on some days, to be fair, so that I could give a more accurate review on this. I'm never one to do first impressions. You'll hardly ever see me do first impressions unless somebody just really wants to see me do them, because I am not a fan of them. I feel like you really need to see a product perform before you can tell someone what you truly think about the product. Because sometimes I've tried products where I thought I hated them and then I ended up loving them later, or I think I love them at first and then 2 hours later I can't stand the way it looks. So anyway, I'm going to try a product or a tool for several days, typically before I'm going to give you a review, because I feel like that's the only way to truly give you an accurate review, especially when it comes to a tool. So I'm going to be trying the Sonicblend against the Beauty Blender Pro. I always assume everyone knows how to use a beauty blender these days, but just in case you're out there and this is your first time watching any of these videos, Beauty Blender is a very porous sponge that is made to make foundation look the most like skin as possible. There are a lot of dupes, knockoffs, and different types of products, but for me personally, this one is still the best because I use a lot of long wear foundations on my clients and on myself. I like to use this one because I don't have to worry about getting all the stains out of it. I can get it clean and it doesn't show foundation as easily. I'm going to be using the Armani Luminous Silk. Now, this has been a top selling foundation for years. I hadn't had as much success with this because I didn't feel like it gave me the coverage that I liked. I'm going to be using this one so that I can talk to you about what I found the difference in using the Sonicblend versus the Beauty Blender was, and what I felt the brush did for the struggles that I have with this foundation, and then why some of you out there might want to stick with your Beauty Blender instead because of what it does for this foundation as well. Now, to do this at home, I would normally just pump a little foundation on the back of my hand and then use that as my palette. However, since I'm doing this as a demo so that you all can actually see what's going on with the brush and the Beauty Blender, I'm going to be using a palette here. So I'm going to go ahead and start by pumping a little bit of foundation here. Now here is the deal with the Sonicblend. The Sonicblend almost doubles the coverage of foundation, which is kind of amazing. It's actually really amazing. However, say you've been using something that's more of like a medium coverage foundation, this is going to make your foundation a full coverage foundation. So if you don't like the look of that, even though it's really flawless and airbrush looking and doesn't look necessarily heavy, it's going to double the amount of coverage. So you need to use a lot less makeup, and it may not be what you're looking for. You may not like that really flawless finish. You might want more of a sheer natural skin-like finish. So here's how the brush works. There is a little button right here that you turn on the brush, and you can hear it there. It immediately starts at speed 1. Now you can then press and adjust to speed 2 and adjust to speed 3. I find that speed 2 tends to be my favorite for just applying general foundation. I like speed 3 for when I'm doing my highlight and contour blending, and I'll show you that as well. And then in order to turn the brush off, you want to hold the button down for about 2 seconds and it'll power off. Now the recommendation is to have the brush powered off when you go to pick up your foundation. I'm gonna watch my viewfinder here so I can see. Put some foundation on the brush head itself. This is the rounded brush head. There are different brush head options on the website. And then I'm gonna adjust to speed number 2. And then I'm just gonna go right in and start applying. Now, I'm gonna start on my cheeks here and work this out just up to the eyes. I've got a little concealer on already, so I'm gonna go ahead and just blend right to the concealer, but not up to the eye area, because I never apply foundation to the eye area because foundation isn't made for the eyes, it's made for the face. I'll be working in small circles throughout the general cheek area, just buffing all over and then taking it back to my ears. It looks super flawless. I am very pleased with the finish that this brush gives, especially from a foundation that I find isn't my favorite foundation as far as the amount of coverage. It's not to say I don't love this foundation on other people. I use it in my kit all the time. I love it on other people. It's just not always for me. Now, when working across the forehead and the T-zone, I'm going to talk you through what I've found with the brush is that the website does recommend that you take it and do strokes across the forehead when you're applying it on the forehead, and even turning it off for the nose and the chin. I found that I don't need to turn it off, but I will show you what I did do. I stipple it on the nose, and the reason being because the bridge of your nose is so firm. A synthetic brush sometimes can leave strokes on the nose or completely remove the product in the sense of this one because it is a firmer brush. So you don't want to have it actually remove your product. Now I'm going to turn the brush, and they show you with the little guide that comes with this that I showed in the unboxing, that they do recommend when you get around your hairline and your jawline that you turn the brush and kind of use the side of the brush along your hairline and jawline. And I'm going to do that around my brows because I've already applied my brows and I don't want to wipe them off because Lord forbid they take me long enough to put them on. So now I've got the forehead completed and I've kind of stippled onto the nose. Great coverage there. I'm going to use very, very little around this area here because it applies more, and this is the area where if you're not careful we can all get foundation mustache and nobody needs that. So buffing this really, really lightly. I didn't apply any extra product to this area here. And then I'm just going to come to the chin and do the same and just lightly stipple on here and then work in small circles to buff. And then I'm going to blend down my neck because this one does have a little more color, because I could be a different shade every day of the week right now because I'm not really tanning. But I do love me a good spray tan because when I need to feel thinner, I can always just go get a spray. It's okay. That's it. That is the basic face here. And I love it. It doesn't feel heavy. The foundation actually doesn't feel sticky. This one on me with the Beauty Blender sometimes can still feel really, really moist or damp. This tends to apply it to where it looks more velvety, a little bit more matte. So I'm gonna go ahead now and we're gonna switch and I'm gonna apply the other side with my Beauty Blender and talk to you about the differences in that as well. I'm gonna be using a little more foundation with the Beauty Blender because the blender is gonna soak up a tiny bit of product as it applies. Now that's a benefit at times. Again, it just depends on what your personal preference of finish is. So if you like to see your skin peeking through a little bit and you just like more of that sheer finish, I would stick with a Beauty Blender, because what you're gonna do with the Beauty Blender is press it on all over. This foundation goes a long way, so I don't need to use a lot, but this is also gonna give me a much dewier finish. So this is a dampened Beauty Blender, which is the correct way of using a Beauty Blender. It's giving good coverage, but it's not a full coverage the way that it is on this side. Now, the other thing that I've noticed is that when I apply this foundation with the brush, I don't feel like it's oxidizing the same way that it does with the Beauty Blender. So if you have a hard time with foundations going a lot darker on the skin or changing when you apply them, then you may really like the finish and the way that this applies with the Sonicblend instead. So again, to me, this is more of a slightly dewier finish on this side before setting it with any powder or anything. And this is a more naturally soft velvety look to it. More coverage, a little tiny bit more sheer, and this still feels very moist on this side. So if you're super dry, you may like that it leaves that really moist feeling on the skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply my highlight and contour. No, I got a 5 head instead of a 4 head up here, so I gotta contour some of this down. Just got all that space for thinking. Okay, let's go. I'm ready to go. You ready to go? Let's go like this. Yeah. I have hated blending out the majority of my highlight and contour with the Beauty Blender because it takes forever. I do love the way this blends. So I'm gonna take this up to the 3rd speed, the highest speed that it has. Now, before I actually go in and blend this, because as you can see, this is really, really rich. In order to give this a little bit more mobility, and one of the reasons I love this, I'm actually gonna take a little bit of my Mercier rose oil and put a couple of drops of this into the Sonicblend. And then I'm gonna start with the dark and then work my way out from here. Now I'm not just blending everything together. I'm gonna go back and clean my brush for a second and then take on the light. Okay, now that all of my dark is blended in, I've added a little bit more highlight. And to do this quick change, I'm just gonna spray a little bit of my brush cleanser onto the actual brush head, turn on the brush, and remove any excess from the dark that was there previously. I'm gonna crank it back up to 3 and then work on the light. Now this brush does suggest that you can use it with powder products. I personally prefer it with creams because I like the ability to add the oil if I need to add something to dilute the product a little bit if I feel like it's a little too heavy. I would not recommend this as the tool for a lot of powder products other than just maybe a mineral powder foundation. I am gonna go ahead and do my powder and my blush and my lips and all that good stuff, and I'll be back shortly. All right guys, that is it for this video. So tell me, what do you think of the brush? Have you purchased this brush already? Are you using a brush like this already? Is this something that you're considering buying, or do you have any additional questions about it? Be sure and click the comment box down below and leave a comment and let me know what you think of it or if you have any additional questions. Also, if you haven't clicked that subscribe button yet, be sure to click it now. If you felt like this video was helpful, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and let other people know that it is worth their time to give it a view too. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching and I hope to see you back soon.